Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your host,
Miko.
and Irvin, and this is Shining Spotlight, the stream where we highlight creatives in the industry in order to inspire you guys. Today, we have a creator with many varying talents, but mostly known for her art. Originally getting her industry jumpstart with her fantasy story, Millennial War. She has since gone on with many other works, such as the graphic novel, Niobe, Tomb Raider the comic, and even more recently, the television series Lovecraft Country. She's even had her work featured in a gallery showcased in Kyoto, Japan. And today, we welcome the multi-talented Ashley Woods. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Welcome on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I know it's funny, like with everything that's going on, everything, I'm just happy that, everything's worked out, everything's good with you. And I definitely want to say, as far as like Niobe, because I know that's like the title that you're most known for. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know we have some people that may not be familiar with it.
Yeah, so Niobe, She Is Life is basically about a character named Niobe, and she's from the world of Asunda. And so she's an outcast within her tribe because she's a half-breed. She's a half-elf and half-human. And on top of that, she's trying to escape her father, who has been possessed by an evil entity. And so she's next in line out of all of her siblings to receive his power, inherit his power. And so, she's trying to avoid her father and his forces who are trying to take her life. And she's trying to find her way, being an outcast within her tribe. So the whole story is about self-discovery and perseverance and overcoming. Yeah. And yeah.
Okay. No, the thing is, like with Niobe, like I've always felt like the art when I look at it, like it's one of those things where it kind of pierces you, but in a good way, if you know what I'm saying. Like you look at the characters and they have really that I don't know, like I can see like this being something where you actually have like a lot of people who take this on as more so their I don't want to say like cosplay, but kind of like it feels like it has a lot of inspiration. I put it that way. Like I can tell that there was a lot of thought that went into this when the designs were made, that you pulled from different influences, to be able to construct that. Can you tell us just a little bit about, like, I guess the creative process in terms of how like the team works together in terms of your role with the art on the characters?
Yeah, so I was first approached for the project March 2015, and so by Sebastian A. Jones, who is he's over Stranger Comics, and he's one of the co-writers for the series, along with Amanda Stenberg. And so after I had agreed that in March, we just dove right in. So we worked on issue 1 between June through August, so that whole summer of 2015. And so I worked on all of the art, pencils, inks, colors on top of Daryl May's thumbnails. So Daryl, he laid out the entire book in thumbnails. I would go back and draw over his thumbnails. And so after we laid out all of the line work, then we go back with the colors and we make edits, where need be. When designing the character, I pulled from a different influences. Some of my favorite artists include Brian Stelfreeze, KYMG. If you're familiar with No More Heroes.
You say KYMG?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if I'm familiar offhand.
He drew No More Heroes.
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with No More Heroes. Definitely. I don't know why I'm not familiar with the artist offhand.
The character that I drew inspiration for some of their artworks, and I actually designed a lot of different outfits for Niobe, but only 2 of them were published. But on my website, you can see different versions of her, even in like a sorceress costume, because the world does deal with a lot of magic and sorcery. I had a lot of fun with the designs, and I think that came through because a lot of people just took to the character even before reading the story. They just were drawn to her, and I'm still surprised to this day to see how many cosplay there are.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at. Like you see a lot of people cosplaying as the character, but
Yeah,
it honestly, like I said, like there's a lot of I can tell there's a lot of inspiration that goes into it. Like it doesn't feel like cheesy, doesn't feel like, just kind of like your run of the mill thing that you would. I mean, I don't want to even say because I don't want anybody to think out there that I'm like hating on like anybody's like stuff, but like I don't know. I could just tell it's legit. I'll put it that way.
yeah. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it, and when I see the different cosplays and all the women and the girls that just like really put their foot into it, like the cosplays look so legit, and I'm like, whoa, like that's my drawing, just like walking, around out in the world, and yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling.
So like, did you actually like when it comes to like was that the first time you ever seen someone cosplay as like a character that you had, that you took part in, or was there anything like that when you came out with like Millennial War, for example?
No, that was my first time. That was my first time with Niobe.
I see.
Yeah. Now with Millennial War, I did cosplay as my own characters myself. But yeah, with Niobe, that was my first time just seeing it just widespread, just take off.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, I honestly feel like that has to be one of those experiences where, because I think everybody wants to see that happen, with their characters, and some artists like they might ask somebody like, "Hey, why don't you cosplay?" But I think it's probably different as opposed to like if someone just does it on their own and they're going through putting the details and everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How did you feel or about like the whole HBO deal? Because you guys have an HBO deal with for Niobe. Like, how did that come about, and then how basically where is that now in the
So I'm
process?
not sure exactly where it's at. The thing with TV, it's a lot of hurry up and wait, So Sebastian he's handling all of the meetings and whatnot, and he actually had to step back from a lot of his responsibilities as one of the writers and editors for the Niobe books, She Is Life, She Is Death, and so forth. Um, from what I understand, things are going okay since I haven't heard like it's over. So I'm assuming we're still like a go with that, but it's exciting. I'm excited to see all of that come to life on TV. I don't have a time frame for you. Maybe Sebastian can answer that. But yeah, just it's all exciting. The whole thing with Niobe, it was a lightning in a bottle moment. Because because Stranger Comics is a very small team. Even now, after we work together and everything, and the team, we all needed this project. We knew what we wanted to accomplish, but we weren't sure, if we can make it so. And so we just worked with what we had, the resources that we had. And we knew that we had to put out this book while Amandla was still available because she had things that she needed to do, outside work. And so, like I said, that summer of 2015, all we did was just work. And there were a few hiccups, but I think that tends to happen. Like anytime you're about to have a breakthrough, life is like a pattern of life. It just throws everything at you, the kitchen sink, everything. And I remember Sebastian had a few moments where he was just like, I don't want to say wigging out, but he expressed his frustration. I was just like, yo, like, don't even worry about it. Like this is what happens. If you the test for us right now is just to ignore all the BS and like stay focused. And it's like in theory, it's like, oh yeah, it's easy if I just stay focused and ignore everything. But like in practice, like that can be difficult depending on the circumstances. But in any case, we one step in front, one step after another, we got to the goal. And it was just like someone released the valve on like a pressure thing. It exploded as soon as the book was released. 3 months after finishing the book, that November, we had a book launch, and for that book and all the other books, and just like overloaded with people. Camera crews, just it was a lot.
It all came, in a flurry.
Huh?
I said basically it all came in a flurry.
Yeah.
Like overnight.
I wasn't really prepared. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, when you're talking about breakthroughs, I don't know. I always equate everything sometimes in like anime analogies because I just picture, I was like, so basically you guys hit Ultra Instinct. That's kind
Yes. Anime is church. Like,
I don't know why I kind of like this kind of, when you said that, even though this is an anime, it kind of made me think of like a cathedral or something. I don't know.
I see,
But
yeah. The candle, yeah. But yeah, anime be preaching.
I'm gonna take a moment and roll through some of the comments here.
Okay.
That came in. We did have somebody, Sean Tucker over here saying, "What's up, manga fans and content creators? What's up?" Uncanny Brian Pitt.
Hey.
I love it. It's an uncanny fat boy. Reggie McKinney, great book.
Yes.
Whose baby is this? Fantastic. And Stephen Harris. Ashley.
Yes.
Jay came in. Adams, one of the Shiny Otaku crew right there.
Yep.
What's up? Rockland Page. Hard Eyes. Jay came in. Exceptional talent. What is your process to develop concept designs for the characters? It seems very Afrocentric.
Sometimes a lot of the times it's all mood based. So I don't like to be confined. I mean, what artist does, I know you guys can relate to that. So a lot of the times, I'll go into a drawing with a theme in mind, and then I'll just start just sketching a bunch of different patterns, geometric shapes and whatnot, and it kind of develops as I go, and it refines itself as I go. And like I stated earlier, I like to pull inspiration and references from many different sources. I'm really interested in a lot of different things, and so all of those things come together when I'm designing something. And also, I think of one character, personality trait within the character, and I try to accentuate that so that it comes across in the design. So even before you may read something about the character in the book, you can get a sense of who they are and what they may say just by looking at them.
Okay. No, so one thing when it comes to like influences, I feel like sometimes in the community, at least nowadays, sometimes like you have newer creators where maybe they have like their favorite series, right? Like let's just say, for example, it's like, I don't know, Naruto sitting behind me. And they only really will look at like, let's say like Kishimoto's work, right? But they're not really drawing from like other creators. And of course, with you being a professional, you're drawing from all over. Like, what can you just tell us a little bit about, I guess, like you told us a few influences before, but like, where do you draw like most of your influence from?
Most of my influence, I've been saying this for years, is Hiroaki Samura, and he draws Blade of the Immortal. Also, the manga Vagabond. Like those are my like those.
I love like that art on there, on Vagabond for sure.
Yeah, what's his name? Inoue.
Yeah, Inoue.
Yeah, so those are like my
Takahiro, I think. Takahiro Inoue.
Yep. I knew it was like a T something. I didn't want to.
I think it's Takahiro. I might be getting it all off, but I knew it's Taka something. But
we got that Inoue part. So, but yeah. So those are my two main go-to for like artists and manga. I love their art. The thing that I love about Hiroaki is how he draws his hands and his fingers. And I've been reading Blade since like 2000. And I first came across that manga back in at Borders. So I stayed in Borders just always.
I miss Borders.
Yeah. And so like in the early 2000s, it was really hard. It's really difficult to come across new and exciting manga. A lot of things were like recycled, or you would have to wait until you go to a convention to find something new and rare from Japan. And like nowadays with the internet, expand, and everything's readily available. But I digress. Yeah, those two artists are like my main go-to. So like when I'm trying to warm up for a drawing, I usually have a couple of volumes of I have Vega
Oh, slight lag.
by left, and I have Blade here tonight, and so I'll pull out the
Lagging just a bit here.
okay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
just like 4 seconds there.
Okay. But yeah, so I just pull out some manga and I just like flip through the pages, and like maybe if I need help with figuring out how to draw like flowing cloth, like if someone's like in mid motion or something, I'll look at how they drew, their cloth, flowing, mid sword swing, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, they're really, in a way, the way he uses his camera and his panels is a little bit more head on. Samura Hiraki, he plays with his camera a lot more. He has a lot more dynamic angles. A lot of worm eye camera. Where the camera's real low.
Yeah.
The subject is like,
it's kind of warped.
Yeah, thank you. It's warped.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah. So if I'm trying to do something really dynamic, I will go to Hiraki's work first. I tend to go to Inoue to look at his lines. His lines are a lot more heavier. He also has a sturdier art style. Whether he's drawing females or males, it's just his characters are a bit more solid, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I know what you're saying when it comes to, being more solid. Your lines might be a little bit thicker depending on, Yeah, I get what you mean. Let me see here. Let's see the other question. I see we got a lot more comments coming through. Where did we leave off here? Trying to make sure we keep up with everybody too. Let's see here. Congrats, Ashley.
Oh,
Rita
thank
G.
you. Thank you.
It was fresh and unique. People really saw themselves in it, and I feel like that's why the cosplay for it was strong. I believe that's in reference to Niobe.
Very true.
Hey, Ashley. Jessica Tolliver.
Hey, Jessica.
All right,
Urban Style
Comics. Hey, what's up, Andre? Ashley in the
Ashley in the
house.
house. Jay Thomas coming in. Hey.
Yo.
Kenny again. Hello, I'm in. Jay Thomas, Anime is Life.
Yes, for sure.
Marcel Gray, what's up? Anime is a cult. What up, though? Jonathan Phillips, go Ashley.
Hey, Jonathan.
Jenny Gregory, Ashley.
Jimmy.
Everybody's excited.
Jimmy.
James Quake, awesome.
Yes.
Eddie Green rolling in. You rock, Ashley. I enjoy all of your work.
Oh, thank you.
Marcel Gray again. Can you list / tag the manga artist later? Yes, we can.
Are you referring to?
I'm assuming that was Inoue.
Oh yeah, Takahiro Inoue.
Yeah. Also check out Brian Stelfreeze if you're looking for an artist of color and you don't know about his work. Brian is a monster. He's an older gentleman, and he's been in the game for a long time. And so Brian works across different mediums. I've only met him once, but just very cool, laid back guy. He's a beast with the traditional mediums as well as digital. I know him mostly for his watercolors and marker work. So yeah, definitely look up Brian Stelfreeze.
Okay. Let me see here. All right, and then we'll do like 2 more, and then we're gonna get back to the questions. I miss Borders so much. Oh, what's up? What's up, Barbie cosplay? All right.
Hey.
Okay, and then to Borders on the 95th for many of the.
That's in Chicago.
Yeah, I was a little confused. I'm like, what are we talking about now? Like, okay.
That was the one. I went to the one on 95th and also on State Street downtown. Yeah.
Okay. So, of course, with that being said, you've done, of course, a slew of different comics. You've worked on even like Tomb Raider, for example, which I know that had to be like a unique experience because that was something that I feel like would be more of a you would be coming at it more from as a professional, but you were obviously are a fan of that as well.
Yeah.
So how was that? I have to know because I know you're like a big gamer as well.
Yeah. So I was working on after Niobe, I began working on Lady Castle for Boom. So I was contacted by Dark Horse at the top of 2017. And I'm reading, first of all, I'm looking at the title. It's like, oh, Dark Horse Comics stuff. I can't curse, but what? So like, you're reading, I'm scrolling, and they come across, Tomb Raider, and I'm just like, what is life? Just like, So I said yes right away. That was just like so fun. That's like one of my favorite projects to work on. The team was great. My editor Megan, she's like the sweetest ever. Because sometimes artists aren't so lucky to have an editor that's that's real cool. But just everyone at Dark Horse Comics are just like lovely people.
Wait, so have you had like a experience with like an editor, like something that's been like off the wall crazy, or was it?
No. I'm pretty chill with everyone I work with. Like when I work with people, I tend to just like focus on the work, and I don't really get too conversative. Maybe that's a good or bad thing. I don't know. It depends on perspective, but I tend to just be like really straightforward and just to avoid any confusion.
Conflict.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I haven't had any bad.
So nothing even over like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Oh no, I was just gonna say nothing like to like. There was no like. Oh, I don't like the way you're taking that, like the direction, and you guys are kind of like maybe having creative differences, or
No.
clash on that, or.
No, because there are times when I don't agree with a direction, but in my mind, I'm just the artist. I'm paid to do what they want me to do. So I keep my comments to myself. Now, if it was my project, I would be more outspoken. But yeah, in my mind, there's no real point as the artist to really, push back. But yeah, like even when I was independent and I would sell Millennial War at different conventions, people will always tell me that comics will break your heart. And so I'm guessing maybe they had bad experiences with their editors and whatnot. But yeah, man.
Do you have any off the wall story that you've heard, like from somebody? Like, obviously, you don't have to say any names or anything like that, 'cause...
I have some stories, but they're a bit too specific. I did.
I see.
This one artist did write a blog. He's a famous artist, and he kept a blog, and he said some things about his editor that I was like, oh, you just don't care. Like, you want all the smoke.
Oh my god.
Whenever I see him at conventions, I'll tease him like, you wild as hell for that, because he's talking about people on blogs. But I've had some bad experiences outside of the industry. Like when I first started working on Niobe, it did bring a lot of it brought some bad vibes from other artists, but that was a part of the whole ignoring everything that I mentioned earlier. Like when you're working on something, it ripples, and then those ripples turn into waves, and it starts impacting people. It's going to definitely generate all kinds of emotions, good and bad. And sometimes this is a bit real, but sometimes people will feel like something was meant for them when it wasn't their opportunity, so they'll lash out on you. So I've had other artists lash out at me, but you just ignore it.
I can imagine that may have happened during Tomb Raider, if I'm just taking like a shot in the dark, about that.
No, at that point, it didn't happen because I changed the way that I moved. I got a lot more low key. I started casting a smaller shadow, so I could focus on my work. Because comics is cutthroat, and people will do literally whatever they need to, whether it's like mess up what you have over here, or people just do a lot of talking. So from my experiences working on Niobe and seeing the hate that was coming my way, because I had invited this one artist to the launch, and I was like, yeah, let me introduce you to everyone at Stranger Comics. They helped me out a lot. Maybe they can help you, get some opportunities. And they turned around and told me halfway throughout the night, like, I don't want you to be successful. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what did I do with that?
That is crazy. I mean, I'm not laughing because of that, but I'm just like thinking, like, wow, like people would be that bold to kind of like.
I'm telling you, like, people were wilding out. So, like I said, from those experiences, it's like, okay, how do I find that balance of when to bring attention to myself? Like, if I need to promote online, and when should I just like lay low? And like me, you like Naruto. I love Naruto too. I know what it's like to be the underdog, and I had to embrace that role because I switched my perspective. I feel like, okay, as the underdog, people aren't expecting much out of you, so that means they won't be in your way. No one's trying to block your lane. But if you're just like, I know a lot of people get excited online if they talk about what they have, cooking on the stove and what they have coming up, and the next thing you know, it doesn't work out for whatever reason, So it's important to like, know that balance of when to bring the spotlight to yourself. One of my first projects, I know you was asking about Tomb Raider, but one of my first projects that didn't pan out was Blade for Marvel. And
wait, so you were supposed to work on that book, or did you? Because I'm trying to remember. Actually, did you work on that book?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
that book brought me a lot of attention because and that's when I learned my lesson, because I had announced it before I began working on it. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to work on the book from Marvel, and then that tweet and just like blew up, and it was and I can't think of the blogs or whatever at this moment, but yeah, it was just like all over, and people was like, oh yeah, Marvel's new It Girl, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't expect it to like take off like that. So a few months later, I had a dinner meeting with the writer. It was October 2015. I had just got back from LA working on Niobe, and they had told me that they were bringing me on to issue number 3. And next thing I knew, 6 months later, I want to say like between March and April of 2016, I was told through the grapevine, they didn't even tell me directly, that the book had been canceled. And the book was canceled for one reason. I don't want to say because it would throw somebody under the bus, but it was canceled for one reason. But what they announced was something else. So yeah, I seen a lot of crazy stuff like coming in. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna minimize my movements, like
move in silence.
Yeah.
So, move like a ninja. No, I'm just messing.
Yeah, on some shinobi type. Yeah.
Use that kamui. If you know what I'm talking about, Obito. But I don't know. I'm gonna start going too deep into that. But yeah. But in any case, like so, obviously, so do you suggest like a lot of creatives do more of that? Like, let's say I'm a newer creative, and I'm trying to get into creating comics, but I want to do this professionally. I'm not a hobbyist. Do you think that it's smarter to always move in silence, or do you think there's times that you actually do need to be more like out there in your face?
Well, like I said, it's a balance, and also it depends on what kind of person you are. Like me, I like a lot of peace and quiet, so I could, maybe rock the boat a bit more. Maybe I should. Other people who are more extroverted, they're like, come what may, they can like deal with all of it, the hate, the love, all of it, so it depends on the person and circumstances.
I see.
I would definitely say like, don't just be all out there all the time, because it's a lot. It is a lot. So
I know you worked on doing a cover for the comic Bitter Root. I know some of you guys out there might be familiar with that, or should be familiar with that if you're not. It was an Eisner Award-winning book. But what was that like, actually being able to work on that project? Because I mean, obviously it blew up since.
Yeah, so that was a great experience. That was summer 2018. Sanford Green had reached out, and I had to just whip out that cover really, really fast because it's just like a spur in the moment thing. And he's like, "Hey, I need you. I need your work." And I said, "Okay." So um, I felt a little bit of pressure, putting the cover together, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I love Sanford's character designs. I love his brush strokes and his work, and so it was just a lot of fun referencing those characters and reading up on the story a little bit. I haven't finished the book yet, but I do have the graphic novel over here on my bookshelf. Um, but yeah, just an awesome story, awesome characters. And
You
I
know, it's
love steampunk too.
oh yeah, steampunk, yeah, definitely. Like I like the whole style of the way the book was done. Obviously what it's about. Kind of the way it tackles racism is interesting, at least. Definitely.
Yes.
You've actually, funny enough, in some ways, like Bitterroot even reminds me of course, a little bit in a weird way, not directly, but like Lovecraft Country, for example. So what was it like working on Lovecraft Country? Like as far as like what was everything that you did and on like working on the show and the production of everything? Like how did that go?
That was also a lot of fun. It was one of my most challenging projects because um, it working in TV it's a lot more fast paced, and also you're on call around the clock. So your editor can hit you up early in the morning or late at night. Um, so when I was first contacted to work on the project, they wanted to see how I was actually wrapping up Heathen for Vault Comics. This is 2019, and so they wanted to see how I would do with designing monsters, and so they said, "Yeah, we need these designs by the end of the day." So that meant like about 5 or so hours, if even that. And I was like, "Oh my god," So cause I'm already like knee deep in my work for the day, working on drawing pages for Heathen. So it's like I had to like switch, my mindset to this other project, and so I'm going from like drawing Greek mythology to referencing Dead Space, the game Dead Space. That's like one of my favorite horror games. So I'm looking at Dead Space and Silent Hill, and so I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna just draw something very grotesque, sagging skin and warped limbs and tentacles and boils and just like really disgusting, stuff like that. And I wasn't even sure if I hit the mark. I just drew something that I would like, but they loved it. So that's what got me the gig for Lovecraft Country, my monster designs. And so from there, I drew a few more monsters, and then they would have me draw whatever they needed, literally, between costume designs for all the different characters. So I had to like do like a lot of research on what the style was like in the 50s. Um, Draw all types of props, whether it's the maps or the comic books. What else? Just
What
like
so what
random.
all went on? Like so, you're saying you actually had to, of course, do research on like like art, like or like kind of like the get up for the 50s. Like
Mhm.
what was that really like to make sure like it didn't just look like I don't know like stereotypical? Like what did you actually have to do to like be able to pull that out, if you know what I'm saying?
So it was like a piece by piece thing. So I would send in my initial designs, and then my editor Matt. He wasn't really my editor, but he was over the whole art department. He, my supervisor, he would come back and tell me like, well, this looks a little bit too modern, or excuse me, my art style is very clean. So he was like, we need to like rough this up a bit, make it look more authentic. So it was a lot of tweaking and going back and forth until I hit the mark on what they wanted. So starting out, I worked from home a lot, like the first 2 months, and then between like August and September, they started bringing me on set. So or they would invite me to work on set, and so it was an outdoor set. I haven't seen Lovecraft Country yet, just because I haven't had a chance to. It's in my queue to watch.
I always find that interesting. Like when I hear that sometimes, like somebody like has like there's like a show they worked on, because you're not like obviously the only one. And it's like it's out there, and they're like, I haven't watched it yet. Like you hear that a lot from actors usually. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm like, how could you guys not watch it? I would be excited, but I get it. You know, it's
because everything is just like, just like moving really, really quickly. So it's definitely in the queue though, because all of my friends are like, "What? You haven't watched it yet?" And so one of my friends, Chris, he sent me the link to watch the show. But yeah, so between like August and September of 2019, they invited me to work on set. So I worked on the pilot episode, and I think there was like some singing in the street and live performances, and people were dancing and whatnot. So I was there for the filming of that. There were a few indoor scenes I was around for. I'm not exactly sure how they fit into the overall show, but yeah. So we would be on set until like the wee hours of the morning. Sometimes I would leave between maybe like 1 or so in the morning, and but it was pretty cool because it's summer nights in Chicago, so it was still like a really cool vibe. And so I had mentioned like way early on that working in TV, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So you'll watch them shoot a scene, and then once they yell cut, they'll come back to me as the artist and hey, we need to like tweak this in the thumbnail. Like if I'm doing like not thumbnails but storyboards, like, oh, we need to tweak this in the storyboard, or whatever it is that I'm drawing. And so I'm rushing doing that, and I give it to them, and then they shoot the scene with the artwork. And everyone was just like really warm and supportive of each other, because we were all under a lot of stress. So it was a really cool environment in that sense. The actors were real sweet, and it was really cool, seeing actors that you grew up watching, like Courtney B. Vance and what's her name, Journey Smollett. I grew up watching her on Eve's Bayou. That was like one of my favorite movies growing up, and so here they are, and I was trying so hard not to cross any boundaries and like just stay in my lane and do my job. And they'll call me over like, "What are you doing? Like, come over here and take this picture." I'm like, "Oh, okay," So everyone was like real warm and cool. It was fun, a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, we didn't even mention at the beginning of this, ladies and gentlemen, but this one's actually going to be a bit shorter. We're going to be wrapping up pretty much close to the next 7 minutes here. But before we roll into kind of the final few questions here, I will just the comment section. We've got a lot of comments in, and obviously do courtesy to everybody that came out tonight. We definitely appreciate it.
Also, I want to say real quick too, if you are new to Shining Otaku, or if you want this interview to obviously blow up so that the whole world can see it and we can highlight Ashley as much as possible, go ahead and hit the like button as well before we get to the comments. Okay.
Anyway, rolling through them. Marcio Gray, what's been your quarantine snack during this pandemic? One snack, go ahead.
Lots of Kit Kat bars.
Kit Kat bars. Love it.
Also, I love whenever I buy this at the store, the store clerk looks at me weird, but I love canned sardines and smoked oysters. And yeah,
really,
so I've been eating that a lot. And my boyfriend is like, "Oh, your breath stinks." I'm like, "It's brain food."
I don't think I've ever had smoked oysters. I have to try that out.
Yeah.
Imagine those TV commented in. Good old Brian Stell Freeze, great guy.
Yes.
Gotta check him out. Rohiga, I won't put her out there like that. I was about to say it, but
oh my goodness.
Personally, I favoritism to who I know is one of our biggest fans. Shady, not a true friend. Dell X116. Shout out to Ashley. Enjoy how frank and honest you've been about the industry. If they mad, then you're doing good.
Oh, facts for sure.
Sean Tucker, move like a shinobi. Tokoyami, reverie in the shadows. Marcel Gray, show us the bookshelf. Show your
Oh yeah, we gotta see that.
bookshelf.
Oh yeah. So
See Afro Samurai,
yeah. So I have a lot of anime.
Soul Eater.
Yeah, Soul Eater is actually, where's Soul Eater at?
On that same shelf that Afro Samurai is on.
Yep. I got some Berserk, Street Fighter movie.
Got a lot of games up there too.
Yeah, like
I'm sure you got Final Fantasy up there because you're a big Final Fantasy fan, right?
Yeah, I got 10, 12, Dirge of Cerberus. Got some Onimusha, Persona, Xenosaga. Yeah, and I got my PS3, 360. And I got my martial arts films. I love my fighting movies. Yeah. I got some Cowboy Bebop.
You ever seen Raid?
Yeah, the Raid. Yeah.
The Redemption.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my movie.
Yeah, the Indonesian joint.
That's my movie right there.
You had me a Persona though.
Scene, though.
Oh my god. That movie got so many scenes, especially you can think about the end, when they fighting each other, like the two brothers and everything. I don't want to spoil the whole thing if you haven't seen it, but I'm like, dang, even if I did, you would still love the movie. But
man, like, I didn't. Well, if they ain't see it by now, oh well. It's been out for a minute. But like when they fought, what was that dude at the end? His name was like Crazy Dog or something.
The Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
Yeah.
He was so little, but he was like he was giving them that work.
Yes.
And,
he put the smack down.
Man, he was so little, and his friend. I didn't think his friend was gonna make it because he was struggling. I think he got shot or something happened. He got stabbed. I forget. I just know he was bleeding like the whole movie, and he had to like be drugged. Yeah.
When they did that final battle, I swear when they like got into the stances and like everybody was like kind of getting ready, I was like, I'm just waiting for somebody to say ready, fight. Like look, that's how I came off.
Yeah, part 2 was cool when they was in the prison. Part 2 was cool, but 1 was the best one.
I'm gonna keep rolling through the comments here because I'll start talking about that for hours. Love Uncanny came in again. Lovecraft Country is my sugar honey iced tea. Imagine those Pete chimed in. This is a sweet interview. Mad respect.
Thank you for coming through.
Brittany Grant.
Oh,
6 hearts.
From high school. Oh, hey Brittany. Oh,
thanks
happy
for coming
birthday,
out.
Brittany.
Oh, hey, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Sean Tucker, hardworking woman.
I try.
Got a heart from Rohikashi here. Marcel Gray. Yes, finally, someone else who saw Eve's bio.
Yeah.
This is my movie. Yeah. No idea what it is. I'm gonna have to check it out.
You never seen Eve's bio?
Nope.
Nico?
I have not.
I haven't either.
What in the screen?
Wait. I'm gonna say it like this. Are you making it a recommendation? Is that your rec?
Yes.
Okay.
Not only a recommendation, my seal of approval.
Seal of approval.
See, I have to say something about this, right? So this guy Nico.
Yes.
Literally, when it comes down to anything, right? When somebody makes a recommendation, like he's a very tough critique. Okay. Probably the only thing that, like me personally, that I probably have a perfect record on, I'm scared to recommend anything anymore, is like TV shows. So if you're making a rec.
Well, I'm okay. I'm very confident in everything that I watch, so I cannot recommend anything that's been recent, like WandaVision or whatnot, just because I haven't had a chance to watch it. But I guarantee, I know that's like big words, but I'm very confident in what I like to watch. So yeah, Eve's Bayou is definitely legit.
It's on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you, you're going to get a tough critique from him some way or another. It's just, it's hard. I'm like, but hopefully it's good.
Lauren W. came in with the heart.
Yay.
Rohiga again. What is something new that you learned about yourself throughout your career?
Oh, okay. So we're talking about self-reflection. Yeah, working as an artist, it definitely is going to take, not to sound dramatic, but my experience is it definitely takes everything that you have. I learned my weaknesses. You know, I also learned a lot about my strengths. I learned about discipline. Like discipline will take you where motivation can't. If you move purely based on motivation, you're only a person. You know, whether you're a man or a woman, you know, we both get tired all the same. We're people. Like you're going to burn out.
I don't know why.
And
Like
that's
I
where
can't hear you right
you
now,
have to learn
Ashley.
it because beforehand, can you hear me? Testing,
Yeah, it was
testing.
just a 2.5 second lag there.
Okay, so as I was saying, I learned a lot about work-life balance because I have a lot of energy naturally, and so I'm used to just working around the clock. And I quickly learned that's not smart at all. Um, so yeah, it's important to regulate and mitigate, you know, your energy, build a schedule. Um, Deadlines are important. This is like a boring answer, but it's necessary.
Actually, I have a quick question for you.
Yes.
You know, and you know, hey, if you don't want to show it right now, that's fine because I'm like mine's kind of scattered. But what's your work desk look like?
Oh, my work desk is actually very clean. But I'm in the process of moving, so I would show you, but no. But yeah, I'm a neat freak, so it is very clean and organized. Um, right now I have the Cintiq 22-inch next to my laptop, and I have like a bookshelf next to it with all of my art books that I've collected at conventions.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Hmm. And also like
So,
my posters. Like actually, there's a picture of my work desk on my social media, so like I'll just like tag you or
okay.
send it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely go ahead and send us that link. We'll get it out.
Okay.
And we'll roll with just three more questions from the comments section here.
Hmm.
Jeremy Forrest, do you still stay in contact with former classmates from IEDT College or
Yes, most
Chicago?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. IEDT is like my second family, my second home. So I still talk to my teachers, Ron Wade, Richard Liu, Zena. Also, I just spoke to, yeah, I just spoke to Ron last week. Actually, Ron helped calm me down because I was upset about something last week. So yeah.
Okay. And then the next two more.
Jonathan Phillips, do you ever deal with resistance or find it hard to work? If so, how do you work through it?
Yeah. There's some form of resistance um, that happens every day. Um, so what that looks like is sometimes, let's be honest, as an artist, you're not going to always be inspired by what you're paid to work on. So when I'm working on projects like that, it can be difficult to like jump into the flow. And so that's where the discipline comes into play. And so you kind of like break up the work in a more grounded perspective instead of just coming in there all whimsical based on inspiration. So you just think about the tedious parts, what you need to do, and just kind of like approach it from that way. And also, if you keep the end goal in mind, that's going to like be your new motivation to get through a project versus being inspired over something that you weren't inspired to begin with. Yeah, definitely discipline. You have to have a routine because you're fighting against your brain. So a lot of times as I'm working, I'm looking up all types of videos. Like if I get bored listening to music, I'll listen to psychology, and I want to understand like why my thought patterns appear the way that they do. So I do a lot of self-analyzation, and also I want to understand the people that I'm working around because as I mentioned earlier, um, depending on what you're doing, it can elicit a lot of reactions with the people around you, and you won't always understand where that's coming from. So yeah, I look up a lot of videos on that so I can understand people and myself, and I apply those lessons So yes, like when you're trying to like overcome your brain, you just it's just self-awareness, being aware of a thought pattern and intercepting it, so you can get done what you need to get done. I can go on. I'm trying to like make it concise, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and since I already said it, I'll squeeze in one more comment here. Che came in. What's your top 5 anime?
Oh my god, that's so hard. I'm gonna just like throw out my favorite anime. So this is one show that came out in 2006. It's called Basilisk, and it's about these two warring. You heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like these two warring ninja clans. It's almost like a Romeo and Juliet type story where the leader of each clan, they can't be together because they're on opposite clans and because of what the scroll says, whatever. But I love it for like the action, like a lot of ignorant stuff happens. It's really cool to see all of the characters' individual, powers and whatnot. Gunbuster 2. So like Gunbuster 1 came out in the 80s, and then Gunbuster 2 is also known as Die Buster. That also came out in 2006. And so where Die Buster or Gunbuster 2 deviates from the original, they take the art style of Fooly Cooly, so it's that same exact team.
Oh yeah, I love Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, so we can add that to the list too. Fooly Cooly, that's number 3.
Now, hold on, which Fooly Cooly?
The original from 2004.
Thank you. Yeah. That's the only Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, that's the only one with the pillows. They do the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like Gunbuster 2 or Die Buster, so imagine the art style Fooly Cooly, and it starts. So Gunbuster 2, both series are like 6-episode miniseries, and so imagine the goofiness of Fooly Cooly, but done like the seriousness of like the later episodes of Gurren Lagann, So
I
like
see.
when they
over
start,
the top.
Yeah, so you just like you start fighting in space and like
throwing universes, throwing galaxies,
something like that.
If you know what I mean, like how they started getting to that point,
Yeah, like everything just turns into singularity, and what's his name, Simone? He's like, I'm gonna jump out my robot and just punch you. In the end.
Mm-hmm. Two more.
Okay, yes, let's keep me on track. My bad. 2 more. We could say Cowboy Bebop. And of course the Eva series, Evangelion. Sengoku Basara. If you've seen Sengoku Basara.
So if it was Evangelion, would it be? What about? Is it the movies that you prefer, or do you prefer like the original anime?
I like the original anime, and I like the original movies. I like the darkness in them, and also I like the. If you knew the story behind why the movies were like so messed up, it makes it even more messed up. But I think I personally like the last 2 movies of the remakes. So the new movies that came out in these past 10 years, I like the second movie. What was it? You Cannot Advance, and that's when you first meet Mari, the girl in the pink suit.
Mm-hmm.
She has brown hair. She wears glasses, and she goes into beast mode. She was new for the remake because she wasn't in the original. But yeah, I like the newer movies. And then we got one more anime.
That's one thing I do like about remakes is that sometimes I feel like creators can kind of like hit their true vision then, and I think that was kind of the whole idea behind doing the remake. Is that he could hit his true vision as opposed to what was done before.
That's where I'm at with Millennial War. Also, my last one is Paprika. I gotta throw in some Satoshi Kon.
Satoshi Kon.
Yes. Yeah, I gotta throw in. Rest in peace to the homie.
Oh yeah.
But that's where I'm at with Millennial War, because right now I have 7 books drawn, and that was my entrance into drawing comics, and so that was my independent book. It's an action fantasy story, and it was inspired by Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy, because I love fantasy, but I also love the hyper fantasy side of Metal Gear. You know, because Metal Gear gets kind of spiritual a lot. You know, of course we're dealing with like tactical type stuff, but then they start delving into like the hearts and souls of these characters, and it's like, oh, you know, I can't curse, but like, you know.
I the feeling.
But yeah. So you was talking about the remakes. What was talking? What remake of what just now? Evangelion.
Well, really, what we were talking about is the favorite anime, but I think you listed Evangelion, and then what was the last one that you was that the last one that you mentioned? Evangelion, and then
Paprika.
I think there was one more. Yeah, Paprika. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we got all those.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are two questions I would like to end on.
Yes.
The first one is, and this is something I love to ask everybody because sometimes some people think it doesn't exist, some think they do. There's nothing like, I don't think there's anything wrong with this question, but do you have any rivals?
Any rivals? No. I think I have some people that consider me a rival, but
That's a powerful statement right there. Like people are like, "Oh, really?" Like they're chasing. Like I kind of picture it being like, I don't know if you've watched Bleach, you know, but
yeah,
kind of like the relationship between like Grimmjow and Ichigo. Like Grimmjow kind of looks at him like, you know, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna beat you.
See, I didn't get past like the third season, like right after they got out of the Soul Society.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still a bit early on.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. I know they're bringing it back though.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know they are. But so you're saying you don't have any like really any rival, but you have people who do see you as rivals.
Yeah, I say that because I've been so busy. Not to sound like self-important, you know, it is what it is. Like I just been so busy trying to do what I need to do on my end because it's a lot of work, you know, drawing comics, and you just don't really have time to be looking at other people like that. And that was one of the lessons that I learned early on. Because, like I said, with Niobe, when I seen how much attention that generated, because I was independent for 11 years between 2004 and 2015, and you know, I was seeing certain artists who had already crossed over into the professional field. You know, I'm around them, you know, for over a decade, and like right when Niobe started taking off, I just noticed like it was a very divisive reaction. You know, some people, yeah, I don't want to get into too much detail because it's not a positive experience, but it was just a very, very extreme reactions. And what I did was just try to stay consistent in myself because I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the barometer and judge what's happening around me. Because if I'm constant, if I'm consistent in my being, and if I'm not inspiring, you know, anything, you know, so after judging those reactions let me know that certain people see me as a rival, and me, I'm just trying to like pay my bills.
Hey, no, I think that makes sense what you're saying. Like you're seeing it like, hey, I'm a professional. I'm here to create, and I'm gonna keep focusing on that.
Yeah.
So even more so, I guess to kind of tweak that question just a little bit, do you have any mentors in the industry?
Not really. I had one mentor, but at this point, there's not much more that they can teach me because I'm further along on my path now, you know?
You've ascended beyond.
Yeah, but they did warn me, you know, like they helped me build my mentality because comics, you know, it can be cutthroat. And so they helped me build my mentality so that I can like take whatever came my way.
I see. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now here's our final question. We asked everyone
this. A traditional one.
Yes, it is a traditional one. And it's going to sound like a movie that everybody's familiar with.
Oh, snap.
What is your end game?
My end game? That's a broad question. What's my
basically, where do you see, you know, how do you want your career professionally, whether it be in comics, television, the whole 9 yards, how do you see it actually ending up, or what do you want it to end up? I put it that way. How do you want it to be?
So there's a lot of stories that I've written and some original projects. So I definitely want to bring my audience that who have been following me these past 5 or so years. I want to bring them to my original work that I plan to release this year and beyond. And
that's Millennial War, correct?
Yeah, Millennial War being one of them. Millennial War is that's such a personal project for me. All of my projects are personal, but Millennial War,
is that your magnum opus?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to finish Millennial War for many reasons, but mostly because I just want to see it through. There's already like 7 or 8 books out, so I just want to finish it up, see it through, and it touches upon a lot of experiences that many people talk about nowadays, such as being an outcast and overcoming stuff like that. And then I have another story that I've written called Black Malady, and that's more so my story told in a sci-fi type theme. And so Black Malady touches upon the frustrations of being a Black female artist in this world. The world relates to you based on what they see instead of like what you do. People don't really tend to listen to each other. They tend to just filter all their interactions based on what they think they know. And sometimes it takes a lot of effort. I don't want to say effort because it's not like you're actively trying to change people's minds. All you're doing is moving through the world as who you are. But sometimes it takes a lot before people can see beyond what they think they know, and then they start to realize that, hey, we have a lot more commonalities, than I would have assumed, So that's Black Malady. And then there's another story I've written, but I don't want to go into too much detail because, they're not out in the world yet.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I plan to do, my legacy I plan to leave behind.
Like, I really wanted to, I wish we had more time to talk about more of the writing aspect, because I know I've actually, from one of the interviews I witnessed, that you actually talked a little bit more about how, like, a lot of your art is out there, but you're also a writer. You made that prevalent. So, of course, a lot of us, I'm like myself included, would like to see more of that side, to be honest with you, see more of your writing, because we already see a lot of the inspiration, of course, with your design work, or even with, your art, but, writing is kind of a way for you to be able to, express your story in a different way, obviously, be able to tell people kind of like the inner workings of the way that you might actually feel on the inside. So I think, I can't wait to see that myself. I know the audience, I'm sure everybody can, feels the same way. But before we go ahead and close out, I do want to go ahead and let everybody know, if you are new to Shining Otaku, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell. We actually have a new interview coming up next week with Chuck Huber. Chuck Huber is the voice, or he did the voice of Hiei on like Yu Yu Hakusho. He also did the voice of can't think, Android 17. He's done a lot of other voices. Shao Tucker, even though that's probably a voice that people are like, oh, I can't stand Shao Tucker. He fused the dog. And there should be a image on the screen showing that as well, or not of Shao Tucker, but of the interview coming up. But with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. But before we do that, Ashley, is there anything that you want to announce or say, before we head on out of here today?
I have a project coming out with Legendary Entertainment, so that should be announced pretty soon. I had spoke to my editor just to make sure I could post it online. So I got the green light. So that's coming out soon. I'm also working on. I have a couple of things coming down the pipeline. They haven't been announced yet. So until they are announced, I will announce that Millennial War is coming back. So I'm at a point now where I can pick it back up. So until my next project begins, I'm going to be working on the next book or two for Millennial War and release that sometime this year. Also, I'm adding an online store to my website, so I will be announcing that on my social media soon. And you can find my work on my site, which is ashleyawoods.com, and also my Instagram, which is Ninja Trip.
Nice. Now, definitely, we post all those links down below, and they should be in the description as well. So definitely make sure you guys go to those links. Go to the Instagram page, go to Ashley's store, pick up some nice prints. Just a question.
Yes.
If we want to get a print, is there a way if we get anything signed? If let's say we want to get something signed, like because obviously the convention season done. So if anybody wants that, like how would they go about getting it signed?
So the store isn't up yet, but if they would like to have something signed, they can just drop me a note in my comment section on my website, and that's going straight to my email, and so I'll be able to address that directly with whoever.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Likewise.
You have anything to say, Nico, before we head on out?
No, actually, again, thank you for coming out tonight. And I appreciate you staying a little longer than we anticipated. In fact, 20 minutes over. So, again, for our audience here and for the new ones, new audiences that came out, we thank everybody for showing out, and thank you for entertaining our guests and enlightening them with your knowledge.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys next week. Chuck Huber.
All right, everybody. Catch you all later.